Hey, if you're one of those people that are constantly learning, you're always looking for new information, you're reading books, you're always jumping on webinars, trying to find those skills and that knowledge that you need in order to succeed with your first business. And keep watching this video because I want to share with you actually the trap of staying in learning phase constant. Now, I've been in that phase myself because I felt for myself that if I was going to grow a business, the best way for me to grow that business is to do what they say, which was go to the courses, attend all the seminars, read all the books, and that's fine. But I was constantly seeking a golden answer. Oh, if I just read this book, oh, if I just attend this seminar, I'll get the one thing that I need in order to break through and to get the clients, to get the results, be able to quit my job. Ultimately, the growth of your business is going to come from you implementing and taking action. So if you're going to go to a course or a seminar or you're going to read a book, fine, but implement it. And the biggest trap for people is they learn but then don't implement. And as you probably heard, like, knowledge is power, but it's the applied knowledge which is actually the power that you get. And I see what people starting a business, what they need more than anything in the world is help with implementation. Because you've been in a job or you're currently working a job, you've always been told what to do. And that's why whether you hate it and it's miserable for you, you always get on and do the work because there's accountability, there's somebody telling you what to do, and there's consequences when you don't do what you're supposed to do. So that keeps you moving forward. But when we step into our own business, it's hard for us to implement for ourselves because we have fear around it. We're doing it on our terms. Nobody else is going to benefit from it for the moment. It's just ourselves. And so it's a lot harder to get into that implementation phase. But the reason when I'm working with people, I want to get you into action. I want to get you out there speaking to people. You know, it's not about doing your logo. It's not about setting your website up all the time. It's about you having interactions, having conversations with people, going to network meetings, posting online. In fact, I was working with somebody once and they'd been putting off doing a live video on their social media for a very long time. You know, this business, they've been putting it off. They kept saying, I'm going to do it, Tom. I'm going to do a live video. And after about 3 times, I said, we're not doing this anymore. Get out your phone. Get out your phone, and we're doing it right now. And they're obviously they're very nervous, very scared about doing it. But on that call with them, one-to-one, I'm getting them to do it. And I got them to get out their phone. I got them to go live. I give them the credit, like they did it and they followed my instructions and went for it. And they did this live and it was brilliant. Everyone started joining for them, giving them support. And he came on the live, came back to the screen with myself and just said how awesome he felt and how proud he felt of himself for doing that live. And that's what you need. If you're going to grow a business, you need to get into the thick of it, get into the action taking that actually matters. I'm not saying books aren't important or courses and seminars, because you learn. The problem is so many people are learning, and then not doing anything. And they get overwhelmed and it's over analysis because they've got so much information and they end up more confused than when they started. And online can be a very confusing place. I could find examples. It's like, post on Instagram. No, don't post on Instagram. Post on YouTube. No, don't post on YouTube. You should be doing emails. No, don't be doing emails. It's very confusing with all that information that's up here and all these different frameworks and strategies and paths to success and paths to making money. You become immobile because you got too much up here. What I say to you is find out what are the key things that you need to be doing. And if you're starting a business, the best thing that you can be doing is getting yourself seen, getting yourself visible, and getting yourself around other people and having conversations. If you fill up your diary with your free time as much as possible, having conversations with potential clients, or you're going networking, or you're being visible on social media, you're adding value to people's lives, that is the very best thing. I didn't say do your logo. I didn't say do your branding colors. I certainly didn't say spend loads of money on a website. You don't need to do all of that. It's the action taken at the beginning. the needle moving activities that actually matter, and it's actually going to get you success. And if you want to get to a place where you're making enough money consistently every month, and that money matches the same income that you're paid in your salary, to get to that point, you actually have to do what matters. And you can't hide behind logos and websites. You can't hide behind learning, reading books, right? And seminars. All of that, if you're hiding, you never get to where you are, right? And the people, if you look at the people who have succeeded, the ones who are making money, the ones who are building great businesses, the people who are able to quit their job, is because they spent their free time doing what actually counts. And that's getting themselves seen. So building up the know, like, and trust factor with them. So I want, if you're watching this, it's time to get out of learning phase and it's time to get into the implementation. And do you know what? The implementation phase is actually where you'll learn the most. The theory, the books, seminars, courses, all, if you don't take action, it just stays. But when you start implementing what it is that you're learning, you can then start connecting the dots. And I've always found for myself, if I'm implementing something that I've learned at a course or something I've picked up in a book, webinar, whatever it is, if I learn something and I'm implementing and it clicks for me and I can get it to work, it connects the dots. And I feel more certain. I feel like I'm growing. It's that aha moment. It's that moment of realization that you get when things suddenly click and you get clarity. But if you're just reading books, it just stays as theory. Nothing actually changes in that system. So when you're implementing, you're getting experiences, you're able to connect the dots back to what it is that you learn in books and seminars. And that gives you more certainty. That gives you more confidence that you're on the right. I went to an event once, which was about speaking, public speaking to audiences. And I could tell in the room, there were groups of people who had done workshops before, or they'd done events before, they'd spoken. And then there was clearly a group who'd never done anything before. They'd never spoken in front of a group. And you could tell what was being taught. You could tell that it was landing a lot more with the people who had previously done some sort of public speaking, maybe a small workshop, something like that. It was clicking with them because they could relate the theory back to a real life situation. So if you can take your real life situation and relate it back to something that you've learned in the theory, then it gives you that more certainty. It gives you get out of learning phase, get into implementation. The only way, if you're serious about moving your business and growing it, the only way is to start.